it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to give you a few tips you can learn from the Djokovic serve to help improve your serve. Now first, I'm going to test your ability to know Djokovic's service motion, to really understand it. So I'm going to give you a test. Now, Djokovic, when he begins, goes across his feet with his racket. Now at this point right here, I've got a question for you. When Djokovic lifts his racket up, where is the tip of his racket going to point? Is he going to point the tip of the racket at the back fence? Is he going to point the tip of the racket at his opponent? Or is he going to point the tip of the racket at the camera? Where is Djokovic's racket going to point when he lifts the racket? Let's check it out. What do you think, right? What do you think? I'd love to know in the comments what your guess was. Let's check it out. Where is Djokovic's racket going to point? It points at the camera. When you film yourself, and you should be filming yourself so that you know what you look like and you can make the necessary adjustments based on what you learn in these videos. I want you to film yourself from the side, just like Djokovic right here. And when you go and you begin your serve and you start lifting your racket up, just like Federer, point the tip of the racket along the baseline. So right now, his racket is basically pointing parallel to the baseline. The reason this is so important is it allows you to use that saluting motion, or that knock the birthday head off motion, where the racket then comes in over the head using the proper throwing motion. Most players who I see, who I coach, who come in because they have a waiter's tray serve, they point the tip of the racket back to the fence. They go across their feet and then point the tip of the racket back to the fence. Now you'll see like Ash Barty, she does that, and I actually love her service motion. But if you're struggling with your serve, try this. Go across your feet, and when you lift your racket up, point the tip of the racket at the camera. You'll notice his racket is slightly behind him, so you should be able to draw a line along your body, and the racket should be outside of that line. I don't want you to think that his racket, though here, I don't want you to think his racket's here or here. You know, really understand where his racket is. He went across his feet and now it's coming up, and the racket's slightly behind him, but the tip of the racket is facing the camera. That's what's going to allow the racket to come in over the head, knocking off the birthday hat. Another thing I want to show you, this is so important, and Federer does this as well. If you stop your racket at the trophy position when you film yourself, I want you to look at what's higher. Is the tip of your racket higher, or is your tossing hand? Because your tossing hand still needs to be higher than the racket at this point. Most amateurs I see drop their tossing arm way too early. The pros, and most pros, keep their tossing hand up higher than the racket when the racket is knocking off the birthday hat. By doing this, you keep your shoulder angle intact, and that just encourages your upward swing. This is the way you get to swing up aggressively and not only hit fast serves, but also hit serves with spin. And spin is the way we control our fast serves. Yes, even flat serves have a bit of topspin, a bit of spin, whether it's top spin or side spin. Yes, it's flat as in it has less spin, but you still want to put a little bit of spin on that ball just as a way to control your flat serve and your fastest serves. And by keeping your tossing hand up, it's a great way, again, to keep that shoulder angle, which just encourages an upward swing as you hit the ball. And the last thing I want to show you, I want you to notice his tossing arm. When it drops, it then tucks back in against his body. You'll notice this, right? It's in. Why is he doing that? So a lot of players think that he's doing that so that he will speed up his body's rotation, which will somehow then, speed up his racket. It's actually the exact opposite of what happens. I want you to watch his chest. Watch this very carefully. I want you to tell me what his chest does. I'm going to play this now in slow motion. I want you to tell me if his chest speeds up and rotates faster when he tucks it in, or if his chest slows down. Did you see that? He's going to drop his tossing arm and then tuck it into his body. And I want you to notice when he finally tucks his arm in against his body, whether his chest rotation speeds up or slows down. I'll let you watch it again. Did you get it right? It slows down. He rotates his body. Right here, he's rotating. So his body is rotating, where here his chest is facing, we'll say it's facing over here. And now when he rotates to hit the ball, now his chest is facing over here. But I want you to notice his chest rotation slows down and almost comes to a complete stop when he tucks his tossing arm in against his body. Why is this so important? Because when you slow your body's rotation down, and your body actually literally not comes to a stop, but the rotation comes to a stop, that actually accelerates your racket, and your racket travels much faster. It's called a reactive break. So make sure that when you film yourself, that your tossing arm doesn't just go, and this is what usually happens. Most players just drop it straight down. That's not what you want. You want to drop it out in front, then bring it back in. That's the counterweight, and that actually slows your body's rotation down. So when you drop the tossing arm out in front of you, but then bring it back in, that's the reactive break that accelerates your racket. So go out and film yourself. Make sure that after you go across your feet, and film yourself from the side view so that you know if you're doing it correctly and you get the same view and understanding of your serve compared to the Djokovic serve here. Just film yourself from the side. After you go across your feet and after you toss the ball up, have the tip of the racket point at the camera. That gets you primed and ready to use the proper service motion. Then keep your tossing arm straight up and keep it up long enough that when you get the racket knocking off the birthday hat, that your tossing hand is higher than the top of your racket. And then make sure that you are then dropping your tossing arm in front of you, but then tucking it in against your body. You use these 3 tips. There's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.